Hi, welcome back to Me.Meditation. I'm your visual aid, Melissa, and today I really want to kind of introduce you guys to the thought processing that kind of happens behind meditation. When we sit with ourselves, when we go to practice our meditations, a lot of the times and a lot of the reasons that people tend to struggle is because they're trying to force their minds to stop thinking or to stop working, or they're compulsively or obsessively thinking about things at all times on a loop, and therefore they can't fathom or see themselves actually sitting down and meditating because they can't get stuff out of their mind or force things out. So today I really want to talk about that and work through what all that means and how we can take the power back in our own minds and still be able to do our meditations. So one thing that tends to happen when you're sitting and you're trying to quiet the mind is a million thoughts will start to race in, right? An old spiritual teacher that I used to take from gave me a really great metaphor one time on what thoughts represent. So if we were to sit at a bus stop waiting for a bus, and a bus were to pull up, and representative of the bus is a thought, right? So we're just sitting, we're waiting at this bus stop, and then a bus pulls up, and that bus represents whatever thought pops into your head that you're thinking about. We have the option to step onto that bus, which is essentially go into that thought deeper, and then follow it and see that thought through, right? Where that bus goes, get on the bus and go with it. So we can think about that thought, or we can recognize that the bus came up to the bus stop, whatever thought that is that it represents, and we can just watch it go by and wait for the next bus. So that's what we have to do when we're meditating. When thoughts start to come into our head, we have to take our power back and realize we are at the bus stop and the bus is just pulling up. And then we have the power to get on that bus and think about that thought and go deeper and follow it to wherever it goes. Or we can hold back and just watch it go by, sink deeper into our breath, and then come back to our breath and let the thought go. So that's the practice that I really want us to focus on today, is when a thought pops up, the bus, we're just gonna sit with it, take a breath, and let it go by and not get on the bus, okay? And whatever that looks like for you. So it's not controlling so that no buses come or no thoughts pop up. It's just taking that power back from the thought, okay? We are separate from it. The thought is a thing, and we are a consciousness separate from the thought. Okay. So, getting into our meditative state, let's just go over a couple reminders, right? We want to get in a really comfortable position. So if that's laying down for you, that's fine. If that's sitting up, that's great. As long as you don't fall asleep if you're a person that lays down, okay? You gotta be conscious still. So back straight if you're sitting up. You want your sit bones nice and straight, back straight, shoulders back, shoulders down, away from the ears. Nice elongated spine. We're trying to elongate through the top of our heads to reach the sky and infinite and beyond. And we want the sit bones to sink down into the ground, down the 7 layers of the earth, and plant you. Okay, now for your arms, a nice 90-degree angle to rest, and I like to rest my hands on my knees. If you practice any kind of Buddhism, you can do your hand mantras. If you practice any kind of chakra healing, you can do the chakra as well. I'm just going to do a simple rest on my knees until we get deeper into those kind of topics later. Okay, and let's just do our 3 inhales, 3 exhales on our whistle and get into it. And we're gonna do just a 5-minute meditation that we've been doing, keeping in mind when a thought pops up, we're just gonna let it go and take a breath and focus on our inhales and our exhales, and know that we have the power to choose which thoughts to think about and which ones not to. Okay, here we go. sit and get comfortable. Any kind of itching that comes along, or twitching, or sudden want or desire to move or shift our body, before we give into that, before we itch, before we move, let's sit with that feeling and take a deep breath into it. And see if that need to do that thing is still there. We're shifting into present, from present into past or future thoughts. That's okay, but bring it back to the present by taking an inhale and an exhale, and focus on that breath. And slowly come back. Blink your eyes, take your time coming back to consciousness. Hopefully you felt a little easier that time to stay in the present moment, and you forgave your moments when you slipped out and quickly came right back to it. Thank you for joining me today, and until next time, namaste.